please take me through your early life, and how and when did your affair with writing started? So now this is from a viewpoint of not being a published writer, but just a writer as a journal that you started writing at the age of 13 or 14. So what what was that for? Like you said, it was your for your personal self, but take me through it. How was your childhood? What in Calcutta and all?
You see,
Calcutta.
my childhood was not in Calcutta because my father had a transferable job, and I studied in Sacred Heart Convent School, Ludhiana in Punjab, uh, between 1974 and 1980, and 1982, and passed out my CBSE examination from Sacred Heart Convent School. So 8 years, my formative years were spent in Ludhiana, Punjab. I don't know whether you are a Punjabi, but
I am.
you would know uh, where and how Ludhiana is.
That's why
So
there is a smile on my face.
okay,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so I was brought up in Ludhiana, and then after Sacred Heart Convent School, my father was transferred back to Kolkata in 1982, and in 1982 to 1984, from 1982 to 1984, I completed my uh, Standard 12 from Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission, which is one of the most reputed institutions in Kolkata. And thereafter, I joined my engineering uh, in Jadavpur University. I became a qualified and a trained civil engineer in 1988 and joined the corporate world. If you ask me what my published book was, what was my first published book, it was a book of uh, a few English poems titled Pain, which was published in 1986 with a gift of rupees 200 from my mother. 250 copies were published, and all the 250 copies were sold in a single day in Jadavpur University, Presidency College, and St. Xavier's. And this book, although it was a very slim book, because of the intensity of the poems that it had or contained, it it created some kind of a flutter in the university campuses in those times. Some of the poems were also translated into Bengali and became very popular, because you must understand that in 1986, a person writing in English was not easily accepted or understood by the community in which he was living. And the poems also contained difficult words, because at a very young age, you feel if you compile a poem in with very difficult words, the poem will be very beautiful and good. But it takes time for you to understand that the best of the literature is written in the most lucid language, most understandable language, and the most comprehensible language. So for me also, I had to learn. I had my own learning and training cycle, and after I joined the corporate world, I wrote on and off. But I must tell you that my relationship with the literary world never stopped. As I told you, I have been a voracious reader. I'm still a voracious reader, and I am a consumer of world cinema, international TV series. Now, in the COVID times, of course, you do not get exposed to theater, but otherwise, I would attend most of the theater festivals in my city. I would fly down to Delhi. I would fly down to Mumbai. I would fly down to Chennai to uh, see and watch best of the theaters playing in those cities. I listen to lot of rock and jazz and blues, and I listen to Western classical. I listen to Eastern classical. So, in certain ways, I would say that my cultural training has been quite solid. And I was an oral storyteller between 2002 and 2005. And in 2006, a friend of mine advised me not to go on telling stories, but to write them. In 2007, June, I decided to become an author apart from being a senior engineering professional. But my first book was published in 2010 because it took me around 3.5 years to find a proper publisher. And in the last 10, 11 years, I have published 7 literary books, one technical book, and my second technical book is will be published next month. And I'm writing my eighth literary work, which I believe should be complete by the winter of 2021. So this has been the span of my writing career, and whatever you wanted to ask.